So look, normally we're going to go through the big ins and outs for each team, and then from there the best 15. For the Drua, we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to go through the best 15, and with that, talk about the whole squad, because there's obviously so many names here that people don't know about, and we've looked into all of them. So we're going to hopefully give you detail on the ones that we're most excited about, but try and give you a little bit of insight to who these other guys are as well. So I might get Craigs. You're the front rower in the group, mate. Can you run us through our best 15 front row for the Fijian Drua to start us off?
I can. I knew you were going to throw me on the bus here. I cannot pronounce any of these names, but we have Manasa Saulo as a Lucy. He's 32 years old. That's the ripe age for props. Big unit, but he's played for Fiji for, 7 years? Toulon, London Irish, Rugby Atlanta over in the MLR. The man is a seasoned veteran, so he will be very good. Dolakoto also has been playing for Fiji as the hooker. I think he's certainly the starter. He's been very good. He's only 26 years old, but he's only got 10 caps so far, but I think he's the established starting hooker for Fiji. And in tight head, we've got Nels. Do you want to take a run of this name? Because I feel like you're going to have a good crack.
Mate, I haven't read it yet. So, Kaliamasi Ulalakepa.
Nailed it. I was just going to say ukulele, but no, you've done
Ulalakepa, I believe.
That's what I said. Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Tight head prop youngster, 22 years old. You've got in the notes here, Harry, a Tongan man.
He is. Yeah, he is, mate. He is. And he also played in the New Zealand under-20s back in 2018 as well. Played a bit of Mitre 10, ITM, Bunnings, MBC, whatever it's called for the year. Wellington for a couple of years, Northland most recently. He actually got let go of Wellington through COVID in 2020 because his weight blew out to 163 kilos. And they said he's no longer in the shape of a professional rugby player.
He did the big Carl diet for a while.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I think he got himself back down to 138 kilos now. And, my big concern was maybe this bloke, he's only 22 years old. He's young. He's very heavy. Maybe he's not going to be fit enough. But he was playing 80 minutes week in, week out for Northland. So I think he has got himself in a pretty good space. So I'm pretty excited about him.
I agree. And, of course, I get very excited about anyone that played for the New Zealand under-20s. And another man who, one of my favourites of all time, Ben Tamiafuna, who has played his career at 150 kilos, has never seemed to have a problem getting through some work and dominating. So
absolutely
exciting to see what he can do.
To talk about a little bit more of the other options in the front row, probably the guy I'm most excited about beyond that is Hayareti Hetet, who is a loose head prop, 24 years old. He's a big boy at 120 kilos as well. He made his debut with so many other players against Georgia in the international scene last year, and then he did get to back up and play against New Zealand as well, one of very few that did that, so they obviously liked what they saw. He's played three seasons of the ITM as well, played for the Maori All Blacks in 2019, the Barbars in 2020, and the China Lions in the...
best comp in the world.
Yeah, that's right.
He gets around. How good.
So but he's got a good resume. This guy's only 24 years old. I think he's a very good prospect. In my eyes, I think Saulo, the experienced loose head, is probably going to be first choice, but I've got big raps on this bloke. Look, there are other options. Sorry, go on.
If we want to round out that options that we think probably are your top four props, you've also got Samuela Tavake. He is another 120 kilo prop. He's a tight head, so maybe we'll get to see him on the bench. 25-year-old. He played Fijian under-20s, also played for Canterbury, Counties Manukau, and in 2021 he played for Rugby United New York over in America. So,
am I wrong, or did he play for the Tars? Or was in the Tars squad within the last couple of years?
I don't.
He's a familiar name, but no.
I'm fairly sure he was like a Tars backup prop, but I think he played a few games for the Tars in the last couple of years.
He definitely didn't play for them. I don't know if he was in the squad.
Familiar name.
You've also got Hone Koroduadua. I'm sure I got that wrong, but that's my best effort. Tight head prop, 24 years old, and you got Meli Tuni as well, the tight head, 21-year-old. Tuni's a bit more of a development player, but I think Tawake and Koroduadua, both of those guys could really push for a start as well. But they've got a lot of competition at tight head. I think the loose head is a bit more clear cut.
Is he even allowed to be called a prop? He's not even in the triple figures club. 99 kilos apparently.
He's a young buck. Give him time. Give him time. On top of that, we mentioned Dolokoto as their top choice hooker because of his Fijian experience. They actually have a fair bit of depth there as well. You've got two 22-year-olds. You've got Ikanavire and Togiatama, both 22 years old. The Ikanavire played against Georgia, again, another one getting a bit of experience there, under 20s back in 2019. He's played for Fiji A couple of times in the Barbars, so obviously a little bit of experience there, and he's just kind of going through the ranks, which is exciting to see. And
was part of that Fijian Drua in the NRC, the winning Fijian Drua in 2019.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And Togiatama, he played for Counties Manukau for a couple of years as well. So good experience there for him as well. And I think, again, probably more one of the development players, kind of rounded out the squad. He was the third hooker signed. And my expectation is he's probably the bloke that they're looking to kind of fill a hole if needed. But lots of good options there, lots of good names.
Yep. If we're going to jump across into the locks, when you think of Fijians, you think of loose, mobile players all around the paddock. They don't actually have any 200 centimetre plus, locks to fill out their squad this year. They've got two men that we think are probably going to be the most likely starters. Viliami Raurusia, he is a 28-year-old, played a bit of under 20s for Fiji, Counties Manukau, Kobe Steelers. So a bit of experience here or there.
He's at 28. I think he's probably the experienced head in the squad. That's probably why we've picked him. He's been around the park probably more than most.
And then what we've done for our next one, we've gone sort of the flip side. We've gone a younger guy with a bit of under 20s experience for Fiji as well. Chris Minimi. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I think Minimi is close. He made his debut in 2020 for the Fijian side against Georgia. There's a few other guys around there. Harry, do you want to take us into that next name?
I definitely do, because I'm so excited about the next two names, and they're probably my most favourite next two names in the entire thing. Number one is Te Ahiwaru Sirikadavita, who is playing over for the Tasman Mako. They've won 2 titles, and he's getting a lot of game time over there. He plays apparently lock or loose forward, but going through his games, mate, he plays 6 and 8 every single week.
Is it Sirikadavita?
You're going to have to make me look bad, aren't you?
Yeah.
Look, he's 194 centimetres, 110 kilos, so can play in the locks, but my expectation is you're probably going to see him play a fair bit in the loose.
Yep.
He will be named at lock in our format as well, so for me, he's fantasy gold if he gets some game time, and maybe one of those just smoky late picks that people should look at. But he's played, as I said, 2 championship teams with the Mako, and he's been in the New Zealand Maori development squad, the Crusaders training squad. You don't get into those squads without being a bit of a prospect. He is a very, very talented player.
Crusaders training squad, say no more. That's it, really. It's
yeah, exactly. Pretty good.
Exactly. Look, you've got Tui Fagalele, who is playing for Suva, one of the local boys over in Fiji, 27 years old, number 4 lock as well. So we'll be competing with Raurusia, I think, in terms of the positions there. My expectation is that, I think that people are becoming a bit more specialised in number 4 and number 5 locks. Maybe it's not a hard and fast rule, but
I'd probably guess off the bat, Fijian Drua is probably not the team you're going to see as much specialty. You're not going to see, your 205, 206 kilo centimetre tight head prop back up, in the second row. They're going to be quite mobile. So we might see some more fluidity for them.
He's probably another player that could start for the side anyway. Experience, played a lot in Fiji, and a big boy, very quick as well. And you've got 2 development locks, I think, is how I would describe them. Isawa Nasila, I butchered him and I didn't want to. Nasila, who is 22 years old, and he actually plays for Southern Districts, my club in Shute Shield, which is why I was so upset that I butchered his name. Don't blame yourself, man. You got nothing to do with him.
I used to play with him.
All right, cool.
Look,
he's 22. He played under 20s, played for the Fiji Warriors, Fiji A side as well. I know Australian rugby and Fiji rugby both had big raps on him, and were both keeping a close eye on him last year. So he's definitely a prospect for the future. And then the last one is Ratui Solaya. I should really read this first.
Yeah. Nice.
Who he plays for Sydney Uni. He's gone through Colts and grade there. My only worry for this bloke, they've obviously got a reason for picking him, but he played the bulk of his time in second and third grade in the Shoot Shield this year. He couldn't really get much of a run in first grade. He got picked in their team of the year across all grades as a third grade player. So he's got 18 first grade caps in the Shoot Shield, but my gut feeling is he's going to be a bit more of a long-term development prospect rather than someone that you see a lot of game time from.
Yeah, good info. Nice. Well, Nels, do you want to take us into the back row, mate?
Mate, why not? This is where everything happens in any team ever. So, look, I'm going to jump into the name that excites me most.
Come on, mate. Number 6.
There's a few there.
You nailed it before.
Rusiata Nasolve.
Number 7.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. So, look, he's... Harry's picked him as his number 7. I don't know too much about this guy. 25-year-old, open-side flanker. 100 kilos, played a bit of sevens with the Fijian side. That's correct. Played in the Olympics in 2021 and played a bit of Fijian Drua previously in the NRC.
I think there's not a lot of depth. It's a position of some concern for them. They don't have a lot of open side flankers. There are other options. The 20-year-old Salawa Jr., his father is a Fijian player that played in the 2003 World Cup at flanker as well, funnily enough. He was in the extended squad for the Olympics for the 7 side. And then Viliami Raurusia, who is 22 years old as well. He kind of plays blind side and open side flanker in the under 20 side. So I'm not sure that he's quite a specialist in the open side. He's 192 centimeters. So he's a big boy as well. But I just get the feeling that they might go for the experience in the settled 25-year-old open side flanker when it comes down to it.
Yeah. And then probably one of the most exciting names, for me at least, in this lineup is Millie the White Shark Diranalagi. He is... he could probably cover across the back row. He led them for a couple of years or a little bit of period of time in the Fijian Sevens. He is a very exciting player for me. Fijian Sevens Rookie Player of the Year 2019. He is an exciting player. It's all about if he can transition into the 15s game, but I think he's going to be a big name.
I'll tell you now again.
I think. Look, he's a household name throughout Fiji, so I really believe he's going to be a household name throughout all of Super Rugby by the end of the year.
The White Shark, Olympic gold medalist as well, we should say as well.
Yeah. And Harry, before we get to your next, another player you're extremely excited about, Namani Nagusa, the 33-year-old, very experienced, also a number 8, probably can play a bit of 6, but has mainly played 8. He similarly has played, he's got 18 caps for the Flying Fijians. I think a lot of those were in the recent years. I don't know if you remember that extremely, particularly the last year or two, that extremely physical back row from Fiji with the likes of Yato and a couple of other guys who just were absolutely crunching everyone. Nagusa is one of those guys who can absolutely lay people out. So I'll be excited to see him definitely get some game time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they balance their experience and inexperience. And he's obviously one of those older, more experienced heads. So could definitely be a shout for a good amount of game time, really.
Exactly. And he's also been part of the Sevens program for a couple of years and was also part of that Tasman Marco team. Actually, not the winning team. Sorry, he was there just before they won 2 years in a row. So take that back. But Harry, who's the guy that you have just been watching highlights of nonstop?
Oh, Matt, it's going to be in the article that we're releasing for the Australian Conference Review. So make sure you get on there and have a look at this. But Joseva Tamanni, he played for, he's 24 years old. He plays flanker and lock. I think he's more of a flanker at Super Rugby level. I think he's probably not big enough. He was in the Melbourne Rising for a couple of caps. And more recently, he's just been playing for Newcastle in the Shoot Shield. And I just remember him coming down to Southern Districts last year. And the team the Newcastle team, all respect to them, was probably not quite in the same league as the Southern District side, but he single-handedly kept them in the game. Every time he touched the ball, he made a line break, threw a big offload that caused a line break, scored a try. He was an absolute freak. When you look at his stats across the Shoot Shield, which are hard to find, I should say, for too much depth, I'm sure he was one of the top try scorers in the 10 games they played. He also came 5th in offloads with 11 and 4th in line breaks with 17 line breaks as well. He is a freak of a runner. Yeah. He can throw the ball in contact. He is just unbelievable.
Turn of pace. I mean, if you had to think of someone who we saw in 2021 who is similar, another Fijian is Seruru, big ranging lock/back rower. quite quick, loves to run ball in hand, willing to throw the ball around as well. Very exciting player. We were really hoping he would be in the Tars squad, so to see him in the Drua, good on him.
He was in the Waratahs extended squad last year. And look, there's one other man as well, just to round out the back row as well. We've got Momo Donald, who is a 23-year-old blindside flanker as well. He was the captain of the Fijian under-20s in 2018 after debuting through 2017 with them as well. Played for the Australia A side 2019. And then this year made his debut and played a few games for Northland as well. So obviously someone that's a relatively high prospect and has some real talent, considering as a young man he's already playing for Northland. So there's a lot of depth there. I think, as we said, we think that there's a top three there, which are relatively settled, but man, there's some really exciting young guys coming through and some older experienced heads that they might just decide to drop in there for some experience as well.
Look, I'd assume we'd see some rotation early, or we'd see some of these older guys now, thrown in quite early and maybe phased a little bit out for some of these younger guys as well.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, let's get on to, everyone's excited about the backs. The back row is no doubt very exciting, but the Fijian backs, we're here to see them. Harry, as the smallest man on this podcast, do you want to take us through the smallest man on the field, the halfbacks?
Are you saying me, sir? I missed that. I am the smallest man. It's hard to disagree with, isn't it? Okay, look, I've got 9 and 10. I've got Simeone Kuravoli at number 9 and Teti Talea at number 10. Kuravoli, I think, has really established himself by the looks of it as the backup number 9 to Frank Lamani for the Fijian side at the moment. He's only 22 years old. He's a small guy at 175 centimetres, 75 kilo. He's played a couple of years with the Fiji A side, the Warriors, 2019 and 2020. He played a couple of years of the under-20s in 2018 and 19. But he's been given that opportunity at a higher level for a reason and seems to be relatively consistently in that position. Teti Talea, on the other hand, he's an experienced head that played a little bit for the NRC through both Queensland Country and Brisbane City. He also started at 10, I think only once, maybe, for the Fijians against the Barbarians in November 2019. But he's had a fair few games around there in the last couple of years as well, coming off the bench most of the time. I think I'm wrong, actually. I think he's actually played a couple of other games off the bench. But he looks to be the Fijian national side second 15 at the moment. There is some competition, which we'll get to. But if you're talking about the most likely to get consistent game time, I think it's him. The only cloud over him is that he's coming back from an Achilles rupture. So he's in light training right now, which to me means that, the start of the season is not too far off. It may be a little close for him to start the season. But, but we'll see what happens there. There's not a lot of detail about how much running he's doing just yet.
Yeah, one of the tricky things for them definitely is this halves partnership. If we're continuing along with Teller and the fly half position here, they've got Caleb Kalepi Muntz, who has had an injured shoulder. He's in doubt for the start of the season as well. I'd previously played under-20s for Fiji in 2019. Came off the bench for...
I believe he's another one of the guys that could play for New Zealand as well. I think he's got some Maori heritage, and he's one of those real young guns that's said that he wants to play for Fiji and is a very, very talented, promising youngster. So it'll be great to see if he does get a bit of time.
Yeah, they've got also Tudraki Sumasuma Vodre, who I don't know anything about. Harry, do you want to dive into him a little bit?
Look, I think he's probably in a little bit of a similar position to Muntz. 23 years old, played through Fijian under-20s, the Fiji A side, kind of come through the ranks. He was the captain in 2020 as well, so obviously got some leadership credentials as well, which I think is important. He's been in the squad for the Fijian side, but he hasn't had any game time just yet. And most recently, he played for the Free Jacks over in the MLR, and he played number 10 for them through the whole season. So it was a good opportunity for him in a professional competition for the first time to lead a team around, and but by all accounts has been a pretty promising youngster. So I think those two guys are really going to be pushing for the second position.
Obviously, as well, Fiji have definitely looked to pick eligible Fijian players. There's only one name that I know of, at the very least, that fits outside that in this team list, and that's Baden Kerr, or Kerrevi, if you want to call him Baden Kerrevi, for his new name for the Drua.
Is there any reason to call him that for the record?
To make him some Fijian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You got to make him sound Fijian, Kerr. So yeah, look, he's come in to be basically injury cover. He has experience. We might get to see him play some footy if the other guys we're talking about are injured early on in the season. But by all reports, he looks like he's absolutely loving it in this group. Through the social media posts, it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think he'll be a real leader for them. And just to jump back, because Nelson skipped the halfbacks because he just wanted to talk about Baden Kerr, I think. Look, Penny Matavalu and Leone Nawai, the two other halfbacks in the squad. You got in that order. I think Matavalu is probably the backup, 24 years old. He has made his debut now for Fiji against Spain last year. Played in the NRC for a couple of years as a young man as well in 2018-19. And then you've got Navai, who's 26 years old as well. Same thing, came through the ranks in Fiji under-20s back in 2014 and 15, and since then has been playing for Suva. And watching his highlights, you can go have a look at him. He's got a very good running game, a smart little box kick game, can see space in behind the line. Another good prospect. I think despite being the oldest 9 in the side, he might be the last to kind of get a bit of a run in that ranking system. But yeah, there's some good prospects and some competition there at 9 as well.
And that's it. And mate, when we're about to push on to the centers and outside backs, some of these outside backs are all 7 stars. I mean, they're going to get in there at halfback as well. It's going to be a half-time job as halfback. You know what I mean?
Is this the point where we just say every one of these players, just assume if they play, they'll be absolute fantasy gold?
Yes, correct. That's that's how I'll be picking my fantasy team. I don't know about you guys.
That's right. These guys can't lose runs, so all they're going to do is run hard. So it's going to be really positive.
When we were picking our top 3 fantasy players at the start of the podcast, Harry just pre-filled mine and just went 3 Drua players.
I did that.
Look, you're not wrong, but
Kagi, do you want to delve into some of these names to begin with the centers? Yeah,
sure. And I think one of the things with the centers, to me, this kind of applies more than the outside backs. A few of these centers who are 7s players, I see some of them as playing a 6 role. A lot of them have been kind of filled that role in between. They're not going to for this team, but there's that type of build. Like an example of that is Kalione Nisoko, who is I know as the offload king in the 7s, and he's an absolute weapon. But I think he would make an awesome 6. But I mean, look, to be honest, anywhere on the field is going to be 6. So I think we have him probably starting at outside centre. He's got the pace, could also play wing, even though I've just said play him at 6. But
worthwhile noting, he's a dual world team of the year representative for the 7s. So he's a pretty good experienced player.
He captained the Fiji 7s back in 2018. I think just for the year. He's been playing for them since 2016. He's a freak. He's a proper freak. An outside centre that is 190 centimetres tall, 92 kilos. He's a big boy, lightning fast, good skills. I'm so excited to see him go.
And what he'll be awesome as the outside centre is getting the ball to the outside backs, you know what I mean? Because try and stop. You can put 2 people on him. He's going to lean over. He's going to Sunny Bill over you and get an offload. Like, it's happening. So
he does throw everywhere.
And I think he's 31 years old, so he's an experienced head, which will be really good. And at inside centre, I kind of skipped over that. We've got Seru Vularica. Another seasoned player, 31 years old. Someone's got in 160 centimetres. I think
that's what he's listed at, mate. I've watched his highlights.
Very much incorrect. But
he's not that small. Someone's taking a Mickey.
That's it. Someone stitch him up. But no, he's played for Fiji between 2015 and 21. I don't know how many caps, but quite a few. He played for the Drua and the NRC. Played for the Guillotines, the MLR winning Guillotines in 2021. The 2020-2021 season. And he can play in any position that exists in the game. So, no, seriously, he'll play halfback, inside centre, wing or fullback. He's just one of those players that's so incredibly creative. And if you take your eyes off him for half a second, he'll be dotting the ball down under the try line. So, absolute gun, this bloke. And I think they really see him as like a second ball player. You know, if you think the responsibility is not all going to fall on Teddy Teller for sure. I mean, really, any of these players are ball players, but that's going to be a huge boost for them in the second 5 position.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they'll be the 12 and 13. But look, the other competition there, you've got Vota at outside centre, 25 years old, 193 centimetres, 115 kilos, a huge boy. has played for the Fiji A side in 2018, playing in the Fiji side since. He's in Fiji since, so he hasn't had a lot of international experience beyond that, but just another big battering ram of a player. I was watching his highlights. He just reminds me of Tavake and Andrani, the way he runs and offloads the ball. So if he gets game time, he's going to be exciting as well. And finally, Ravavao.
I was going to say, with Vota, mate, if it reminds you of Kurandrani, we're going to have to get onto him and bring back the choo-choo try celebration.
Ooh, I like it.
I'm going to be very sad that that's gone now. We need someone to take that up.
Mate, if he gets game time and he actually uses social media, which most Fijians probably don't, I'm all for that, mate. Get the choo-choo back in. And finally, Ravavao is an inside centre, 23 years old. The big rap for him is he's just a power player. So he breaks tackles, he puts big hits on, powerful carries. He's just another freak. Played in the Pro D2 he was going to play in the Pro D2 for Kakasone, but he ended up signing for the Drua instead. Sorry?
It's Carcassonne.
My French isn't that good.
I was going to say, I've listed him here as a smoky, but I'm too excited. I'll jump ahead of it. I think he could be someone that is really exciting, and that's purely based off his older brother, Joe Ravavao, who's played for the New Zealand Sevens. And
I know him. He's a freak.
Has been an absolute weapon. About 110 kilos, lightning quick. Had all the skills. So if this guy possesses just 50% of his brother Joe, he will be unbelievable. And he's just a youngster at 23.
Statistically, he should. So that's pretty good. Let's jump across into the outside backs. So we've got on the left wing, number 11, Onisi Ratave. He's a 29-year-old, another guy with a little bit of experience. He's not a huge winger, 179 centimeters, 99.
Plays like a huge winger.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, mate, just pull up any photo. Just go to Google images of him now.
He kind of looks like Kini Naholo. That's probably the build I would put him down to.
Kini Naholo would be thrilled to say that he looks like Ratave, mate. Ratave is a weapon.
Yeah, I mean, if he runs as hard as Parisi, and he's actually probably bigger than Parisi, so I mean, if he runs as hard as him, he's going to destroy people. But look, he's had a little bit of experience. In his debut for Bay of Plenty in 2021, he played 80 minutes in the 3 matches that he played. He had 3 tries, 16 defenders beaten. 16. That's a lot of defenders beaten in 3 matches. 8 clean line breaks, 417 run meters. James Parsons says he is an absolute freak.
Mate,
and the best part is if you watch his highlights, he's scoring through the middle. Like he's a man that looks like he's running work.
He's running through 16 people in 3 games. You can't do that on the wing. He's looking for people to run over.
We could just see some Sevu Reece-like stats out of him because he's the same kind of stature. He's short. He carries his weight through his hips. He's so powerful and hard to put down. And he's, as I said, the player I'm most excited about.
Yeah. We've also got maybe wing/fullback option. Could also cover fly half as well. Napoleoni Balatha, 25-year-old, 178 centimeters, 90 kilograms. I mean, if you can cover fullback, wing, fly half, you've obviously got a diverse range of skills. He played Fijian Sevens. Yes, Cody?
I was going to say, mate, him and the next player, Taliga, they're both the absolute playmakers for the Fijian Seven side over the last how many years. So that you'll see them no doubt duck into halfback at times or definitely into first receiver. They're just super creative, these guys, and their steps are insane.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got this experience in the Fijian Sevens, you're playing in the outside backs for now this Fijian Drua side. They're going to be very exciting players moving forward. But Balatha, top point scorer in the entire series in 2019 and 2020.
That's in the 7 circuit. Freak. Absolute freak.
Yeah, that means he's going to score some tries. Yeah. So if you get this man in space, he's going to score some tries. That's an exciting one to watch moving forward.
Yeah, 1 gold, another Olympic gold medalist as well. Dream team in the Sevens in 2020. Wow, he's a freak. He's a proper freak.
One to look out for, no doubt.
Mm-hmm. And look, Kidione Taliga as well. You mentioned him before. I think he'll play probably the number 11 jersey, but could play either side. 28 years old, a little bit more experience. He's smaller, so I think he'll probably complement the more solid Ratave winger.
I think Ratave will be playing 11. is what I would argue. But yeah.
If Taliga plays 14, mate, it's fine. He's another freak. He's been playing Fiji Sevens since 2015. We went to the Olympics in 2016. He made his name scoring a length of the field try back in 2016 in the final, in the USA Sevens final. He's got another one off counter attack, I think, on there as well. He can play fly half as well, as Kagi said. He's just a very skillful player, and he actually played a little bit for the Drua in the NRC as well.
Yeah, now you want to have a good time, just go watch these guys' highlights on YouTube. Balaka and Taliga, they're insane. So make some great work.
There's also got a few other guys in the squad to cover the back three positions. The first one that jumps out for me is Liveretti Vetokani. He's an exciting player that played a fair bit of the NRC, 2018 player of the tournament. If you watch the NRC and you watched Drua, he was an exciting player for them. He also then played in the London Irish 2018-20 to 2020. Has had a few injuries, but is he out for the entire season? He is, yeah. He's already signed. They're going to carry him through a whole injured year purely because they want him to play for Fiji at the Rugby World Cup. So they're saying play for the Drua in 2023 and we'll take you to the World Cup because he's a freak of nature. He just scored so many tries in the NRC and obviously lit it up for the London Irish as well. What heartbreak. He was such an exciting player. And I'll take Vinivar or Bine, I think they call him, Bine, Habosi. Binny? You reckon Binny? Yeah. So that's his nickname. I don't know why. I'm going to have to look that one up. He's a blindside winger, only 21 years old, already in the extended squad for the Fijian Sevens through the Olympics as a young man. He did play in the squad. Sorry, he was in the squad for the friendlies against New Zealand in 2021. So they're trying to get him around the top level sides already. And he's been playing for Fiji A side. His older brother, he has already played for the Drua in NRC and also for Fiji in the Sevens, and he says he's his hero. He's just another talented youngster that they're getting into the system. And Craigs, you love the NRL, so I'm going to let you take the last one on the list.
Do I? Okay.
Yeah.
Celestino Roberto Armada. Did not do that name justice, but 21 years old, another youngster, contracted to the Warriors. I mean, if it sounds like it, it is the first I'm hearing of this. He had a season-ending shoulder injury. When he was expected to make his debut, or in other words, just didn't want to play in the NRL.
You actually didn't butcher his name, mate. I think you did relatively well, but he was stuck in Australia last year, unable to get back home. Yeah. With his injury over the COVID period.
He's not a New Zealand citizen, so they literally wouldn't let him back into New Zealand.
So even though he was stuck here, the Waratahs still didn't sign him. Nice, good stuff, Taz. Excellent. But these guys are all incredibly exciting. I think he's in Brisbane too. I think we touched on it, but I think Ratave will lock down that left wing and probably score the most tries in the competition after Suliasi Bunavalu. And then Balaka to Linga, we'll see where those guys end up at. They could be fullback and the other wing. I think that's what we've got as our starting squad.
Let's just wrap up very quickly because we've gone through everyone, the stock market. I had my two as the main kind of names here was Ratu the White Shark, Meli Derenalagi. Number, I think he'll play number 8, could play 6 as well, just a freakish offloader and runner. I think he's my favourite to be an absolute weapon for the side. And Te Ahibaru. Tarika Davita. He was from the Bunnings NPC that we talked about. Can play lock, can play Lucy. I think he'll play probably 6 and 8 along with the White Shark. Those two Lucy's just top picks for me. I think they're just going to be weapons and hard to just lodge out of the side. So they should just get lots of minutes, lots of line breaks, lots of tackles, just everywhere. Kagi said everyone. So if you pick anyone, that's a win. And stocks are falling. I've said there's no one here, obviously, because no one has form. But I think maybe be a bit cautious with the tight 5. It looks like particularly the props and locks, there's a lot of even competition. So it's a bit harder to pick who might be there. Smokies, Nelson.
And I think we can expect to see more rotation in the tight 5 as well. You know what I mean? I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
We've got Yulilia Kappa as the 22-year-old under 20s prop as one of the potential smokies. Lots of competition, but he looks like a big prospect. So if he gets a chance, he could be a real weapon for them. And Josava Tamanni, Harry talked him up a lot, and we think he has just an absolute freakish running game. So if he is on the paddock, and he is starting, he is a good man to have as a smoky in your team because he wants ball in hand. And if he's not breaking the line and setting himself up for tries, he's doing it for other people.
Yeah. Guys, let's round this one off. I know, Kagi, you had your name there, but you gave him a rap before, so we won't go again. Look, key questions for the Fijian Drua, who we've spent a lot of time on. So push quickly. How will the team gel compared to the other sides?
It's going to struggle. Look, if we're going to go off the Ndrua previously, throwing a lot of boys together with diverse backgrounds, I think they're going to struggle relatively early. They seemed through the NRC to actually build quite well in their first season. So the Tars love playing them early. Hopefully you can get a win against them early, and towards the back end of the season, they're going to be, a lot larger threat.
Yep, and I think look, the big question for me with them is fitness is no longer an issue with the Fiji top team. All these players coming from these world-class teams, they play the full 80 and they go hard. But this second-tier Fijian Drua team, I mean, look, we spoke about old mate on the big Carl diet, blowing out to 163 and coming back down. But I think, will the team drop off in the second half? Will they run out of steam if they're not ahead on the scoreboard? So you can expect to see more of a blowout towards the end.
Do you think Baden Kerr, if he has to start the first half or the bulk of the season, will he gel with the Fijian side, given that he's the one non-Fijian and he's going to be directing the side around?
Oh, mate, they may as well give him the nickname now, the shoveler, because he's just going to get it. He's not even going to go for a run, just a whoop, or just cut ball. You know what I mean? It'll be the only team that cuts out their fly half 90% of the time.
No way. Look, he's inexperienced, and I think he's quite a good player. Look, I think if there's a team you need to fill someone in with experience to try to guide that team around, it is the fly half. So I think he's probably the perfect person in position to pull into this side if you need that experience to try to pull and gel the guys around with experience from outside, the range of the other players. So maybe
he's in the team. He's in the team to kick the 50-20s, mate. That's what he's in the team.
And he's in the team to add some experience to an injured position. But look, I think he could have a crack for them if they need it, and I think he will fill his role. And if not, his role will be off the paddock, and he will do that well.
Yeah. Sevens guys, translating to 15s. You got the White Shark, you got Balaka, you got Taliga. How will they go transition into 15s?
So that's my big question, I think. So like I said, some of them, they're used to playing almost everywhere. They need to play with a bit more structure. Obviously, these guys have played 15s and 7s their whole life, but particularly some of the wingers, so for me, Balaka and Talinga, it'll be interesting to see how they fill their role. Or whether they'll be roaming just to get more involved. So
the tricky thing, if you're some of these sevens wingers in a squad that is not gelling, doesn't have the experience together, is a lot of these players love ball in hand. So if they're not searching for the ball, it might be difficult at periods of time for them to get ball in hand. They don't have that cohesion. They don't have the combinations. So maybe we find it a little bit difficult for these players early on in that transition until they learn to sort of look for the ball, find their positioning, things like that throughout the season. But these guys will be real threats. They have potential to score fantasy points with ball in hand. So if the team can gel quickly, I think these guys could be threats. But I think there's going to be a learning curve for some of them. They'll do some magnificent things, but
I think the biggest thing New Zealand 7s to 15s, Fiji 7s to 15s is very different to Australian 7s to 15s. In Australia, it's a development pathway where players play some 7s as young guys and then often move to 15s. I don't think that's the case in Fiji. 7s are their heroes. A lot of these guys played 15s and 7s growing up. They played both. They idolised the 7s. They've made the Fijian 7 squad, so they didn't think about moving to 15s until they've had this opportunity. I actually think that they're talented enough that they could really set this competition alight. I think they're going to transition really well, to be honest.
You think it's going to happen quick, or you think it's going to take some time?
I think the entire team will take some time, but I think the transition for the 7 stars will be very quick in comparison to the rest of the side.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, great. Look, I think we can all agree this team is going to be the most exciting in the Aussie conference. This is where a lot of the highlights are going to come from.
The non-Aussies,
And I'm mindful. I think we've spent a good hour talking about the Fijian Drua. So let's how about we push on and let's get on to the
My closing thought is I'm worried about their tight 5. They're not bad, but I am worried about the Aussie and New Zealand tight 5s are very high quality these days, and I am a little bit worried about their ability to really stack up in the set piece, which could really hurt them.
Yep. No, that's a fair consideration. Yep.